Today is the day you'll stop putting up with ugly unstructured logs, because I'm going to show you how to create beautiful JSON structured logs using a tool called Vector. Now, you may be thinking, what's wrong with these logs? I use them all the time. Well, first of all, they're not that easy to read. If you look at the status code and the size in bytes, it's not immediately obvious what these numbers are supposed to represent. And secondly, they're not easy to analyze. It's difficult to search through them, filter them out, and create nice looking dashboards. Sure, you can use unstructured logs for development, but for production, structured logs are so much better. Alright, enough talk. Let's get started. We're going to go through a simple example project that has a bun API running on port 3000. Now, this could be a Node API, a Python API, a Go API, it doesn't really matter. Next, we have an NGINX server running on port 80. Now, both of these servers can produce logs, but since I want to focus on NGINX, I've gone ahead and disabled the logs for the bun server. Okay, so if a request comes in from the client, which could be a browser, a mobile phone, or an API client, it's going to hit NGINX first, and then NGINX will send that request to the bun API. And all of this is being handled by Docker. Let's go ahead and test it. Okay, so here I'm using an API client called Bruno, which we've actually made a video about, so go check out the description if you're interested. But Bruno has some pre-built API requests. So I've got a get here, a post, and a delete. And on this side, we have our Docker Compose running NGINX and the bun API with the one log message that I forgot to disable. So instead of running each and every one of these requests manually, I can use Bruno's runner to do it for me automatically. And just like that, you can see these three ugly unstructured logs. I mean, why? So to fix that, we're going to install Vector, and I'll make this Docker a bit bigger because we're going to install Vector using Docker, and we're going to give Vector the NGINX logs, and it's going to transform them into beautiful structured logs. So here is my Docker Compose file, and if you scroll down to the bottom, you can see I've added Vector to it. Now, the networks bit I think is optional, but what definitely is not optional is the volumes. So this first volume here takes my local Vector config and swaps it with the Vector config inside the Vector container. The second volume gives Vector access to all my Docker logs through the Docker socket. Now let's take a look at the Vector config to see what it's doing. And this is my Vector config. If you've never seen one of these before, don't worry, we've created a video telling you exactly what this file does. Take a look in the description if you want a link for that video. Anyway, so here it's getting a source of Docker logs. So it's getting all the Docker logs and it's only including the logs for the NGINX container. And then in the syncs section, it's getting these logs and outputting them to the console using the JSON codec. Let's go ahead and test this out. Nice, so we have our Vector container here, our NGINX container up here, and right at the bottom we have our bun container. Let's run Bruno, and we can see, so we have some logs in JSON. That's nice, but it seems like a lot of logs. I just expected this bit. Where did all of this come from? So we're going to run this command, which is going to format just the last log with JQ. Okay, so there's a lot of information I don't think I actually need, especially right here in this label section. This really isn't useful to me. We've got the container name, the host, the image, that's all cool. But if I scroll down and look at the message, we can see our logs haven't actually been formatted. What's going on? They still look like unstructured logs. That's because we haven't told Vector which part of the log we want to format. We should probably go and do that. Vector uses a domain-specific language called VRL, which stands for Vector Remap Language. This helps to process and transform logs, and this language has a ton of built-in functions. One of these functions can parse NGINX logs. Let's go ahead and look for it. So on the Vector website for VRL function reference, I'm going to search for NGINX, and here we go. We have a function called parse NGINX log. Let's get rid of this, and we'll scroll down a tiny bit to see what it does. So down here, you can parse in logs that look like this, and it will transform them automatically to this. So we have agent, client, compression, referrer. This is honestly really cool, and it's exactly what we're looking for. Let's go ahead and implement this in our Vector configuration file. This is our updated Vector config file. We've added a new section called transforms, which is underneath sources, but it's above syncs. And this specific transform is called format logs. it's of type remap, and it takes the Docker logs as an input. And right here in the source, this is where the transformation actually happens. So here we've created a new field for our logs called formatted message. And this runs the built-in parse NGINX log function with an exclamation mark. What's that for? Well, normal VRL functions take structured logs in as an argument, but this one here takes unstructured logs in as an argument. It's actually called a parser. So this exclamation mark indicates that this function here is a parser function that's taken in unstructured logs as an argument, whereas a regular VRL function won't need that exclamation mark. Okay, so our parser function is taking in our old message field, which has the unstructured log as an argument, and a second argument of combined, which is the type of log it is. There are many different types of NGINX logs, but this isn't the video to go through them all. And beneath that, we have a delete. So this is going to delete the old message field. And beneath that, there's another delete function that's going to delete that label field that had a bunch of information I didn't think was useful. Cool. I think this is it. This is ready to go. I'm excited. Let's go and see if it works. So we have our 3 containers running with an updated vector config. Let's go ahead and run the request through Bruno. And okay, so we see them here, and this looks a lot smaller than the previous one. So we know that bit's worked, but there still seems to be a lot of data. Let's go into this tab and we'll format it again with JQ. Whoa, nice, this is awesome. So we have our formatted message. We don't have the old message, but we can see we've got agent, client, referrer, request, size. It's all split up nicely, and it was handled for us automatically by Vector. Now, if we wanted to, we could go ahead and delete these fields, host, image, source type, the same way we deleted the label field, but I think you kind of have an idea of how that works. Also, again, if we wanted to, we could split this request up to REST verb, URL, protocol, but I think this is a good place to stop because we've actually done what we set out to do. We got the unstructured log from NGINX, and we've used Vector to parse it into a structured log. Now, from here, we could update the Vector sync, which will allow us to send these log messages to different platforms, allowing us to do proper analysis, so proper searching, proper filtering, and even create dashboards and set alerts so that we can get notified if there are any errors with our servers. Anyway, I hope you found that useful. Leave any questions in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Oh, also, if you love this, you're definitely going to enjoy our newsletter, Hacking the Scale. So go check it out.